What is up, everybody? This is the Next Guy Up podcast. I got Tinsley here. I got Zach. We're going to talk about, how's it going, everybody? We got some football to talk about. We have a little fun draft that we're going to start with. Today's draft, are we going with the word niche, or are we going with pet peeves, or does it really matter? Are they interchangeable here? But we're going with the...
Oh, it doesn't make sense to me.
It's a pet peeve draft. Me and Zach were saying our pet peeves are pretty niche to us.
Yeah. Oh,
It may not be like widely understood.
Yeah, so it's like a specific to yourself, but these are going to be, some pet peeves. Yeah, I'm here for it. I already butchered the beginning, so here we are. Real quick, though, this weekend we've talked about doing a pumpkin spice drink, and I wanted to tell everybody a little bit about it, or should we just wait? It's happening. We're doing it. We got to get some punishment.
You're doing it? I think you should announce it so you have some accountability.
Well, real quick, let me talk about something. So I was watching the Pat McAfee show, and they were doing an advertisement for Dude Wipes. If anybody knows what Dude Wipes are, it's basically toilet paper wipes for men.
It's a lot of free pub you're giving out right now, Mason.
Lots of
free pub. But they are pumpkin spice. Yeah, a lot of brands.
Podcasts.
But pumpkin spice Dude Wipes. I don't know if they're like scented.
They're scented. Yep.
And so I was like, I wanted to bring that up because I know how much Tinsley loves pumpkin spice. So there's another weird one for you there. Pumpkin spice smelling
wipes. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, so back to the pumpkin spice that we're doing.
Dude Wipes, great product. If they want to sponsor another podcast,
we would love to sponsor them. We'll use them all the time.
Make sure
it's live on the air.
Live on the air. So got Tinsley mid drinking water, by the way. He's dying. Okay, so real quick.
This was after the last episode.
Yes.
We kind of hung around for a few minutes talking off the mics, and we gave Mason this great idea. He's famously has about 3 punishments that are sitting in his queue that he's been putting off for a while. We've given him hundreds of possibilities and options of what he could do. He has taken none of them. He continues to. So we gave him an option here. Okay, let's set the table. Mason.
One more part of the table was so we've October 5th. We've been planning for a while for Zach and his wife to come on down to Cookeville, watch some college football together and hang out. And then we didn't know what time the UT game was going to be, but Mason was like, "Oh, I'm going to be at a pumpkin festival that day." And so me and Zach had to give him a hard time about pumpkin festival or watching college football. Because our group text on Saturdays goes a little cold from Mason, and it seems like he might not be watching lots of college football while me and Zach are over here talking about USC and Michigan or whatever's going on in the college football world.
Real quick, Tinsley, you have every right to say that and give me a hard time. I don't want to hear a thing out of Zach because last football season, he had every right to be doing house projects and stuff. And he was like, guys, I'm going to be honest. I didn't watch any college football. Or didn't watch as much as I wanted because he was in house project mode. So he's gone through this before. I was doing a house. Is that a fact?
Here's the fact. Even when I couldn't watch it, I was listening to it all day. I was locked in, keeping up with the scores. Mason drops off the radar. Doesn't send a single. Like me and Tins literally have dozens of texts back and forth about the games and what's going on.
Fighting for our bets
in multiple group texts
and the Discord.
Mason, MIA. At like 7 o'clock, he's like, "Oh, guys, sorry, I was doing a project. I didn't watch a single minute of college football today."
Could have at least had it on. You could have heard what was going on.
Listen to it. Yeah. Been locked in.
After that, and then he dropped the whole pumpkin festival thing on us. We said, "All right, your amount of college football respect is we got to punish you."
But I'm the NFL guy, so it'd be different if I was missing a whole day of NFL. And then you guys can roast me for days. But I'm the NFL guy, so it's like college football.
You are the NFL guy.
I need you watching college football though, because when we come to draft time, we got to know what the heck's going on out here.
Tinsley and Zach give me a hard time. What a shocker! That's never happened ever in the history of mankind. I'm also doing this thing where I get the listeners to feel bad for me. So there we are.
It only works for one.
He's already starting. We haven't even started the draft yet. He's already trying to get pity votes. It's not good.
That's right. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so the pumpkin spice. So Zach had this wonderful idea. How funny would it be if you took a pumpkin and poured coffee, like made legitimate pumpkin spice in the pumpkin, but the part of the spice part was using like kitchen spices like oregano and garlic salt and
that's what pumpkin
pepper.
Spice is. It's just some pumpkin flavor with some various like cinnamon and various spices,
but not the kitchen spices that you're talking about.
I mean, who's to say?
You're
What kind of
talking
spices
about
are in
like
there?
paprika,
chili powder, cayenne.
So we're gonna do something like that with all of us together. And last time I did a food challenge, it was a hit. Millions and millions of views out there. So I'm making a joke. It got like 70 views on TikTok. I'm still mad that I did that burger smoothie.
It.
No,
that's 70 more views than we had.
It was worth it, Mason.
Good point.
It's all about the hashtags. You got to be the hashtags.
Yeah, I don't think I put any on there. So keep an eye out for that. Keep an eye out for that, and we'll actually have someone that knows what they're doing for the TikTok to put hashtags. Follow us on TikTok, social media. We'll have it out. So there you go.
Love it.
Yep. So should we start with this the pet peeves draft? Kick it off.
I've never been more excited about anything in my life.
I don't know. I don't think either of them are really. I came up with this idea.
I'm in. I'm locked in.
Okay, Zach's all in. Just
like
Jerry Jones, he's all in. Yeah, let's spin the wheel. Let's kick it off. I think there's a 101.
Do you?
Let's go. Okay,
I'm so excited to hear this 101.
There is a
Mason's
101.
First, second.
Who do we want here?
Tens.
Great.
And Zach, I am third on the turn.
How many are we doing here? 4? 5?
Mason, have we ever not done 5?
Is this your first time drafting every time? Is this like part of your bit that you're doing?
I feel like we've done different amounts.
Everyone's done a different. No, I will pull up every snake draft graphic for you.
It's 4. Okay,
all 5.
Oh, okay,
it's 5. It's 5 every time.
Okay, so my number 1 pick. I'm so excited to. This is a 101. I honestly think so. Driving slow in the fast lane. Drivers that drive slow in the fast lane. That has to be 1. Is nobody else bothered by that? Nobody's passionately like,
I think I'm usually the one driving slow in the fast lane. So.
Also, same, yeah.
Well, this is going well. I could probably waited on that one.
Tiny little cars. We could just weave in and out of traffic.
Except for on a windy day. My car starts shaking if it's too windy outside. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Dang it. I could have waited on that, obviously.
Definitely.
Y'all are the ones that cause, the reason for my headaches. Okay, Zach.
It's
Tinsley. Okay.
Okay. People who ask questions when you're watching a movie for the first time. Like, we're both watching this movie for the first time. Why are you asking me anything about it?
It feels like a direct shot.
It's a direct shot at somebody.
Who is it?
My wife.
I'm going to be honest. I'm the one that, I don't know if I ask questions, but usually I'm trying to figure out the movie. Like, I'm trying to predict the end and then like spoiling it or trying to figure it out. I'm the talker. It's not a good look.
Okay. My 1 of 1. People who are always running late to things.
Really, Zach?
People who don't value other people's time. It's very annoying.
Who would ever do such a thing? For anybody that doesn't know, Zach is notorious late to everything.
Okay, so that's first. Second, when people get irrationally angry while watching their sports teams.
Okay, I see what he's doing.
I think people just need to watch sports for entertainment purposes only, and people who are too invested in their team is an abomination. Get your priorities straight, people.
Yeah,
like
the ones that throw remotes. Yeah, that's just the worst.
Yeah, that's just crazy. Okay, Tins.
Mine's gonna be when people cook with me and they don't know what they're doing.
Just in general.
They don't know what they're doing.
It's gonna look great on the graphic.
I told you it's pretty niche.
Is this at work?
Yeah. Anytime I pretty much have to share the kitchen with anyone else and they don't know what they're doing, it just kind of gets my nerves the whole day.
Is there any listeners that will be like, "Oh wow, that hurts a little"? I work with them.
They should learn how to not have me have to come show them how to do something every day.
Got him.
My boss included.
Zinger.
Uh-oh.
But also, Blue Coast sponsor us. Okay, next, I got the next turn here. This is very specific. I don't know why this bothers me so much, but I've gone to several concerts, and you pay a ridiculous amount of money to watch them perform and to sing. And the worst thing that they can do is take the mic away from their mouth and put it towards the crowd for them to sing. I don't know how you're going to put this on the graphic, but I went to hear you
going on the graphic.
I hate
your
that
fans to sing is on your list.
No, it's just like I went to listen to you specifically sing, like get excited about hearing it live. And then they like take the mic away and they're just like, here, I want to listen to you sing. I didn't go to like watch, the whole crowd sing. I went to watch you sing.
I thought you were going to say like people who were like recording on their phone the whole concert. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
No, it's this one. Nobody agrees with me on that.
Are you the one that's recording the whole thing on your phone?
No. Usually I get like a couple clips and then I'm like, okay, I'm actually going to like pay attention and watch this.
You don't like the camaraderie of thousands of voices joining together to sing a chorus really loud and it's fun and it's like exciting?
No, it's just like I want to hear them sing.
There's probably not even singing for real. It's probably literally lip
a recording. Could be.
Like okay. Great pick.
Thank you.
Listen, it can be your pet peeve. That's fine.
Okay. The next one. I don't know. I don't have anybody like specific to like point this out about. I just feel like when it happens, it's like, but smacking gum, chewing and like smacking gum. I feel like that's an annoying thing. That's a pet peeve.
Good pet peeve.
Especially when you're. Oh, thank you.
Do you chew gum, Mason?
Yeah, but I'll just like chew with my mouth closed, or usually no. To be honest, I'm not really. I don't really. Here's the thing about me with gum.
Let me ever catch you smacking some gum.
I will chew gum for literally a minute, and then when that taste is gone, like I
literally 1 minute. Let me ever find you chewing gum.
Okay, it's like I gotta spit it out. It's.
Do your patients at work ever chew gum? Like they're smacking it?
I won't say.
Oh,
got him. Tins is throwing all his coke under the bus. Mason is reserved.
Okay, there's my.
Okay, Tins.
All right. People that say sorry about everything. This is also a lot of my coworkers. Like if someone's walking through the kitchen and then I'm walking and like we have to get out of each other's way and they're just like, oh, sorry. I'm like, why are you sorry? There's nothing to be sorry about here.
Mind.
Or if they're just like putting something down near me and they think they're like in my area and they're like, oh, sorry. I'm like, why are you saying sorry? There's just people that say sorry about nothing. So sometimes I'm just like, don't say sorry about things that you're not actually sorry for. Because then when you do need to say sorry for something, it doesn't mean anything.
That's a good point. They wore it out.
It's just so annoying. I hear the word "I'm sorry" about 1,000 times at Blue Coast every day.
That poor coworker is just getting ripped apart.
They're always all of those coworkers. It's always pet peeves. Okay. My next one is when people quote The Office too much.
Seriously, Zach.
Okay. And next. When people start exercising and that's all they talk about, or even make podcast segments about it. Shout out Fat to Fast.
What if I would have drafted one of those for some reason? He would have been in shambles. I would just be like, for some reason, just took. I actually one of
did his. Have people who drive too slow on my list.
Oh, there you go. Because you do that.
Facts.
Okay. Very specific. I like it.
That's the thing for other people though. You start exercising and it's like, I've been to the gym 7 times this week, and I'm, people get excited. People get fixated on stuff. I've definitely done that. Often. Tens.
All right. Mine is having a phone conversation on speaker in public.
Oh, that's a good one. Dang it.
That was on my real list.
I can't stand when anyone, if I can tell you have me on speaker, I don't like that. And if I can hear your phone call on speaker, I hate that.
Is that like an unwritten code that should be like hey, when you put someone on speaker, you should say, hey, what's going on? By the way, I got you on speaker. Like, shouldn't that be like
I guess.
But you can always tell if you are.
Talking on their AirPod in like the grocery store.
At least that's not as annoying because you don't hear the other person's conversation.
Yeah, I don't like that either, though.
It's fair. I do it a lot, though.
I do. I used to. My AirPods don't work for some reason. They refuse to do phone calls. I don't know why. I can do everything else but phone calls.
What a bummer. Okay.
That was a bummer.
I had a boss that you never knew if he was talking to you or he was on AirPod conversation, and then I would like stick my head in his office about, are you talking to me? He'd be like, no, I'm on the phone. I'm like, I don't know. You said, hey, come here.
You guys remember those old YouTube videos where that guy did that when he's like on his Bluetooth? It was when Bluetooth was pretty new still. Do you know what I'm talking about? It was like a prank YouTube, and he would have a Bluetooth in. He'd go up to like the grocery store. He'd be like pointing at something and be like, oh, do you know what that is? And someone would answer it next to him and be like, oh, sorry, I was on my Bluetooth. Like, he just made people feel really awkward. That's what it is. Yeah. Okay. Mason.
Okay. I still have some different ones that I'm trying to figure out what bothers me the most.
He's got some heat.
I got some heat. How about if you say no offense, but then you follow up with saying something offensive?
What is this, Talladega Nights?
Have you done that before, though? Or had somebody around you that says something like that?
Well, if you say no offense, you're automatically you're going to be saying something probably offensive.
Exactly. So why say
it? Would rather than not say no offense and just say the offensive thing?
Sure,
if I'm going to be mean, I'm just going to say the thing. Because if I'm going to say
full offense.
I fully mean to 100%
offense.
Okay, this is my last one. I think you guys are probably going to roast me for this one. Or just kind of make me sound like I'm way worse than I am. But when I'm at a restaurant and they never refill my water, I'm that type of person that drinks like 2 or 3 glasses of water I'm very parched all the time, and especially when I'm eating. And I will tip you so well if I just need to make sure I got my water full. And I'm sure it's very difficult. I've never actually been a waiter or waitress. They like to make fun of me for how many jobs I've had. I've done like catering, but I've never done specific that. And so they got all these different tables. So I know there's times where it's difficult, but when I have an empty glass for my whole meal, pet peeve. It's a pretty good one, right?
It's a great one.
Okay. Zach was going to say it's a great one no matter what.
What about when Buffalo Wild Wings doesn't bring you all of your wings in time? It's super slow.
When you wait 45 minutes to get your wings, it's the worst. Pet peeve. The time goes up every time I talk about it, doesn't it?
An hour and 15 minutes, and they never brought me wings.
Mason's a fun guy to go out to eat with. Yeah, he's a lot of fun.
Very antsy that day.
It's every time we go out to eat, Mason's like, his water gets to halfway and he starts looking around like, all right, are they aware that my water's halfway empty? I need a water refill soon.
Okay. I'm not that bad. You make me sound like I'm a Karen.
You're not a Karen.
No offense, but you're a Karen. Okay, Tins, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I have one more, don't I? Walking slowly, like in front of me. Especially like sporting events or just events in general, and people are just kind of lollygagging around. No, let's go. We got places to be. It's time to get out of the stadium. Especially, my last stadium visit was in Nashville and the Jags lost. Needed to get out of there quickly. Don't need people walking slowly in front of me.
It's a pretty good one, actually.
Or like Black Friday when we used to go to Walmart. And people be walking around slow. It's like, no, I'm on a mission. I got to go get in line. I got to go hit the movies and the video games, and then it's time to go.
It's like Grandma Jenkins was just like, let's take a stroll in the park at Walmart on Black Friday.
Thursday to get some groceries. Eggs, milk. Okay, my last one is when people constantly tap on things or make a lot of noise. Sucks. Okay, I have my real list. I want to give to the class here. If you didn't catch on, that was my list of just stuff about me. I felt bad making pet peeves list. I was like, I feel like I started reading a list online, which I made fun of Mason for, but I was just trying to get some ideas. And all of them on there, I was like, I feel like people would say this about me. So then I just made a list all about me. So, okay, number one on my real list, bandwagon fans.
Yep. Why didn't we pick that? What in the world? Yeah, that's a good
grammar mistakes and like misspelled words on signs and like billboards. That drives me.
How about text messages from
there,
Tyler
and the
Tinsley?
twos? All of those drive me nuts. I had teams faking injuries to stop offensive possessions in college football.
Yep.
When I'm driving and the light turns green and literally 0.1 seconds later someone's honking at me to go, I was like, what? Chill out. That's one.
I will put it in park.
Watching videos on your phone with the volume up.
Yep.
Like when a group of people, I had talking during movies. When people pay a lot of money to go to big time sporting events and then just sit there and get mad when other people are excited and standing up.
Yeah, that happened to us at the Steelers
down in
game.
front. Yeah, like shut up.
I'm like, I'm here to get the team to play harder by me yelling and make the other team make mistakes. I'm not just going to sit here. Like I would just stay at home if I was just going to sit here and watch the game.
Bingo.
I'm a part of the game. Okay. That was my real list.
It's a pretty good list.
Dang. Thanks, everybody.
I actually like his list more than mine. Like those pet peeves are better. Like those bother me more than my own pet peeves that I thought of. Okay. Good work, Zach.
Thanks.
We don't have a winner usually. I don't know. Sometimes we can, but you're my winner. In my book. Thanks.
Okay, we do have an update on another thing today. Our NFL win totals. If you missed it, we all drafted 4 teams that we are tracking their win numbers with a big punishment on the line at the end of the season. We have a tight race at the top. And one team who is coming up, I think they're gonna catch some steam here late. So, number in first place right now is Mason. 49ers, Chiefs, Bills, and Packers. They have 11 total wins between them. My teams, I have the Eagles, Lions, Ravens, and Texans. We have 10 total wins between them. And in last place is Tins. He has the Falcons, Bengals, Jaguars, and Panthers for a total of 4 wins on Tins' roster. Tins, when you look back at the teams you picked, do you have any regrets? Do you still feel good? Panthers is a pretty remarkable choice in hindsight.
So
it really is, though.
I really was banking on the Panthers to really bounce back after last year and not perform the way they have performed so far. I thought the last place schedule would be good for them, new coach. And here we sit at week 5, 1-4, and Andy Dalton is our starting quarterback. So
I mean, Andy Dalton.
But he's been lighting it up.
Yeah.
He's going to give me a few more wins.
Yeah, I think it's fair that the Bengals are almost always start slow and kind of pick up steam. The Jags are due a win at this point, right?
If we have the Colts at home this week. The Colts have not beat us in Jacksonville in 10 years. So if we lose this week in Jacksonville while we're putting Tom Coughlin in the Ring of Honor and we're wearing our throwback jerseys and it's the Colts beating us for the first time in Jacksonville in 10 years, everyone's fired. Every single person should be fired. I'm the new head coach. I think that's what's going to happen. Wow.
That's electric.
Yeah. So stay tuned, because if that happens, especially with Jonathan, which sucks is Joe Flacco is probably going to start for the Colts this week. That's not good. That's not good news. Joe Flacco is elite. So I'm a little scared for that.
It's just a funny universe we live in where Tinsley's more afraid to have Joe Flacco than Anthony Richardson behind center. But
Anthony Richardson sucks. He's very bad at football. See, the key part of being a quarterback is being able to throw the football. And Anthony Richardson, last time I checked, is bad at throwing the football. So 2 + 2 = 4.
Real quick, though, it's a good math right there.
Thank you.
Real quick, I do want to say I was really ready to roast Tinsley on just like the dynasty in this. But how many of us out of this cashed a bet for $900 last weekend?
It's true.
It would just be one. So I can roast them all I want, but there's some things that I just, I'm like, well, he has real money. Do we get a prize at the end of this? No. So that I know of, I don't know.
We do There's also we have some dynasty mode updates coming up soon because we have some playoffs now. We have some teams. We'll do that next week. I'll update some points.
We should know the MVPs by then too.
Okay, nice.
It's true.
Would be a shame if one of our teams
Shohei Ohtani
went 50-50 for the first time, and it'll be history. And it's whatever.
Zach, I got one of his
already got swept.
I really almost bet against the Orioles, like just faded them totally in the playoffs because I knew that they were frauds.
I almost did too.
I almost put that on my list as well. The guy who always says, "I almost bet that after the bet hits."
I almost put that on my bet peeve
list. That's such a good one.
It's like, I had that guy to score a touchdown. Well, you should have bet it or shut up.
You know what we should have done? We should have just got together as a group and created the best pet peeve list of all time. So now I'm getting all these good ideas or Zach's basically giving me the ideas, but that's a good one right there.
Thank you, Mason.
You're welcome. So did we want to dive into some NFL talk while we're here?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Frankie Montes is on my pet peeves list. Guy could have just got me 5 strikeouts tonight. It would have been nice. Anyway. No reason at all.
Coward.
He's a coward. NFL. Mason, was there something you wanted to kick off with? Because I think there's one really big NFL story going on right now.
We should probably start with that one, don't you think?
I think so, because it could very well it could be breaking by the time this pod comes out.
And then we wouldn't even have the news, but go for it. Let's start it. Okay. Yeah, let's start it out.
So Davante Adams and his head coach have been butting heads after the Raiders lost to the Panthers. After the game, Antonio Pierce said some players were making business decisions and didn't give their full effort in the game. And then Davante Adams had a mysterious injury pop up, and he missed last week's game. He's apparently requested a trade. There was a viral post that someone said that has Davante Adams played his last down for the Raiders, and Antonio Pierce liked and shared it. Because, that's the age that we're in now is social media.
Social media.
Yeah, people are doing stuff like that. But so it's very interesting that the head coach, that's how he responded. Davante Adams has a weekly spot on the Get Up with I don't know the name of the show. with Kay. What's her name?
Yeah, Kay Adams.
Kay Adams. She has a weekly show where she has players come on for interviews. And Devontae Adams is on there today talking about, it was very interesting that my coach did that. I haven't heard from the Raiders, but I wouldn't, disagree with the trade. Apparently, the three big players in the trade are the Saints, reunite him with Derek Carr, which was the big reason he even agreed to a trade to the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
I know he was pretty upset that they let him go after 1 year because he had a no trade clause with the Packers to, he agreed like, yes, I'll go to the Raiders because I want to play with Derek Carr again because they played in college. The other team is the Steelers, which that just makes sense because the Steelers I feel like they're a receiver away from being pretty lethal on offense the way they've been playing. And then the Jets because of Aaron Rodgers. So it's very interesting. There's a lot of rumors going around Twitter right now that a trade has essentially been agreed upon between him and the Jets, or the Raiders and the Jets, as I'm seeing as of like 30 minutes ago, but nothing from like official people. These are all like Twitter insiders.
So it's funny that you bring that up because you cannot bet for where he will land on his next team in the state of Tennessee, but if you're in a different state, definitely go take a look. But the odds have came out, and the Jets are the odds-on favorite to land Adams at minus 150. However, after you talked about Adams saying that he'd be open to playing with Derek Carr, that shifted from plus 700 to plus 300. If you're like, what do these odds mean? That just meant you're getting a less payout, and it looks like it's better odds of that happening. Some of the other teams, let me see real quick. One of after Rashee Rice went down, it moved to plus 500 for the Kansas City Chiefs. So if everybody's keeping up with the odds, we have Jets as the favorite at minus 150, the Saints at plus 300, Commanders surprisingly tied at plus 300, then the Steelers, the Chiefs, the Cowboys, 49ers, and so on. So if you had to be a betting, is this one you stay away from because the Jets just make too much sense and you're not really getting a payout there? Or does it really matter?
I wouldn't bet on this just because NFL, you don't really see a lot of trades in the NFL in season, especially like first starting caliber player. I also just don't think it's ever like that good of an idea. Like these guys it's hard to pick up a new offense. Like, I don't know. I mean, I think if he goes to the Jets, he'll probably be fine because him and Aaron have such a long playing time together. But at the same time, like, I don't know. It's just never really worth it. It never really works out, in my opinion.
I know this is super random, but like one in-season trade that I remember was Randy Moss traded to the Titans, and I got so excited, and it just it didn't like reach expectations. So I feel like a lot of these, and I feel like you're right, a lot of these in-season like trades, you get really excited, and I don't know if they're just learning the offense or if it's just taking time, but a lot of them don't really like meet the expectations. So we'll see what happens. Okay, did you have anything else, Tens, for that?
No, I think I'm good on that one.
Okay, so just like a speed round here, I wanted to do updates now that we're 4 weeks through the NFL season of just talking about the odds and seeing if all this makes sense or if there's any that you would prefer. But the Chiefs 49, I'm not going to give out the odds. I'm just going to go in order. But the odds for the favorite to win the Super Bowl is Chiefs, 49ers, Ravens, Bills, Lions, Eagles, Vikings with their hot 4-0. Texans, Jets, Packers. Is there any that like stand out, or is there any like you're like, ooh, this would be a good as of right now type of bet?
I've been saying it, and I'm just gonna keep. I think it's the Bills. I think the way their schedule is going to end up, I
Plus
do think
900.
I think they could be the number 1 seed. So home field advantage throughout the playoffs, and I think that's big, especially playing up in Buffalo. And it gives you a good hedge opportunity because you got to think. If we really, really want to break it down, I think it comes down to the Chiefs, who are now really banged up at receiver. So what are they going to do? I mean, they'll find a way. They'll be there at the end. The Ravens are just a team I don't trust in the playoffs. They always get there and then they get figured out. And then who else is really in the AFC? Like the Texans?
Yeah. That's
who I don't
about
believe in.
it. Yeah. Well, I was going to say, you remember that one time Zach bet Notre Dame to miss the playoffs at, what was it, minus what?
It was like minus 600 or something. I think it was crazy.
Okay. Bills to make the playoffs at minus 800. there's a Zach Durham bet. So if you bet $100, you pay, it pays out $12.
I love that.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, if any of those stood out to me at all, that's probably one of them. But also, I don't hate how good the Ravens and running the ball, how they looked at plus 800. I'm just tired of the Chiefs like winning with them 4-0, them still being the odds on favorite. But anyways, okay, MVP. Did you have any is there any that you've been looking out on the MVP after 4 weeks?
MVP, no. I took
so fluky.
I have a long shot on Josh I took before the season started. And I think even for a long shot, it was like plus 500.
Jane Daniels plus 2,500 right now.
Look at Zach here. Keep an eye on
No matter how good a rookie plays, he'll only ever be offensive rookie of the year.
Minus 140 for offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, I mean I think he wins that, no problem.
I just like a long shot. So Justin Fields being 3-1 plus 5,000 for me. Zach, do you like any of these? No?
For MVP?
Yes? Yeah.
I haven't looked at. I looked at Jane Daniels. I haven't looked at a lot of the rest of them
because that's the one he's betting. Okay, defensive player was Aiden Hutchinson is a leader at plus 250. TJ Watt, Nick Bosa, Chris Jones, Max Crosby, Myles Garrett. I think it's either one or the other of Aiden Hutchinson or TJ Watt, in my opinion. So
I think it'll be Aiden Hutchinson. I think they like to get new guys in there for that award.
Because TJ Watt's won it before, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's one of those guys though, you could just hand it to him every year. He's so good.
Yeah. Okay. Was there any other NFL headlines we just wanted to touch on? I just wanted to touch on some of the random betting stuff and Devontae Adams.
Yeah, you giving out the Super Bowl winner or Super Bowl odds is kind of where I was like, want to talk about pretenders and contenders, but
yes, we'll go for it.
I just think that I talked about the AFC already with the Bills and the Ravens. I think the Bills are a contender. I think the Ravens just aren't. I think it's very top heavy in the AFC. I think the Ravens have a good record. They're going to be one of the top 4 seeds, obviously, at the end of the year, but I just don't see them as a team that can really push for a Super Bowl. I think it's going to come down to the Bills and Chiefs, unfortunately, which is boring as that is. That's kind of been the repeat matchup for the last few years, but I think it's going to be again this year. And then the NFC is just so wild to me that there's a lot of teams that are probably pretenders. So I'm not going to break down a lot of those because that's like a lot of your higher ranked teams. But I think the only real contender out of the NFC to me is the Lions. I think they had a shaky kind of first 2 weeks where they kind of looked like out of sorts. And now that they're in rhythm and their defense has stepped up, is playing a lot better than it was last year. I think this Lions team, I think we're going to have a first-time Super Bowl winner this year. It's going to be between the Bills and the Lions.
You can bet on that. I'd have to look, but you can bet on a first-time Super Bowl winner. I'd have to see.
Yeah, you gave it out before the season started. It was like plus. It wasn't crazy. It was like plus 180 or something.
So real quick, I wanted to preview next week. Just real quick, we're getting a first bye week 5. So if you have fantasy teams, make sure you look and see what the bye weeks are. But it's Lions, Chargers, Eagles, and Titans. Thank goodness, couldn't come soon enough. And then the first London game is the Jets and the Vikings at 8:30 a.m. So, make some breakfast early in the morning, turn that game on, and get ready for all day of NFL. So there you go.
Okay, both of you, rapid fire. Pretender, contender, Minnesota Vikings.
Super Bowl winning Vikings contender.
4-0. Are they for real? Sam Darnold?
I think they're for real. I think that coach has gotten all like. If you look at how old Sam Darnold is, he is still pretty young. He had a
Plus
very
800
interesting
MVP odds.
He had a very interesting interview. The head coach did, O'Connell, where he said organizations fail quarterbacks. Quarterbacks don't fail organizations. These organizations give up on quarterbacks too early and don't surround them with the right people to develop them and enough talent. And you get the guys in the right situations and they blossom. I think he's talking about Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold is legit. I think too many teams gave up on him too early. If you think about it, he came out of the draft. He wasn't even 21 yet. So he's still a young guy. The Vikings are like Brian Flores is going to have another head coaching job after this season for what he's done with the Vikings defense. And I think O'Connell is coach of the year for the Vikings. Like he'll win that award this year. The Vikings, I think, the Vikings and Lions are going to make that NFC North very fun.
That's it. I'm looking it up right now. Coach of the year.
We've seen a lot of that happen. I think that's honestly been one of the biggest storylines of this football season, of the last couple seasons, is quarterbacks going to other programs and having a lot of success. We've seen it on a small scale with like the Malik Willis situation. We've joked about it, but I mean, he legitimately looks much better now than he ever did with the Titans. And then we saw it with Kirk Cousins a couple years ago when he first came to the Vikings.
To the Vikings,
and it was like, this guy is for real. Yeah.
Pretty interesting. Baker got ran out of Carolina, and now look at him. I mean, he's established himself as he's going to be the Buccaneers quarterback for at least the next 5 years.
I feel confident Bryce Young will have the same story at some point.
I think so.
Whether it's next year, we'll talk about the same thing with Bryce Young.
I think so.
So, and to wrap up with the Vikings, TJ Hawkinson they've not even had him, and he's planning on coming back, which was a huge part of their offense,
especially on last
season. Yeah, there you go.
Mark Andrews, horrible.
To finish up the NFL segment, I'm going to go ahead and give my bet here, if that's okay, and then you guys can give yours later. So make sure, and I can text it to you guys too. But I'm going to go with. So the Packers have gone over in 10 of their last 13 games, and the Rams have gone over in 9 of their last 12 games. So for me, Green Bay has scored 29 or more points in 3 of its 4 games. And the total right now is, let me make sure this hasn't changed, but I think it was 48.5 is my parlay leg and my best bet. So there is that. Let me double check. What do you guys think of that? Do we love it, hate it? 48.5. Yep.
Love it. Got 2 teams.
Love it.
Banged up secondaries, trying to score some points.
Yep. Okay. All right. Is it college time?
It's college time. We have a pretty interesting slate this week. It feels kind of like a calm before the storm type of slate before it kind of really ramps up in the next couple of weeks. We have some primetime games coming up with Oregon, Ohio State is coming up next week, as well as Penn State, USC. And so there is some marquee matchups on the horizon, Oklahoma, Texas. There are some big games coming, but for this week, it's a little bit of a quieter slate. But we do have some very interesting games around. We have some ranked teams who are going on the road to be tested against some inferior teams, but who have home field advantage. We call this the system. This is the week of the system. Whether we will actually see a lot of upsets or not, who knows? But I think it's going to be an interesting week. So let's start off with kind of the headliner of this week. We've got Missouri visiting Texas A&M. This Missouri team had a scare a couple weeks ago against Vanderbilt. Darn near lost in double overtime. Probably should have lost if not for a pretty bad missed field goal by Vandy. That was kind of their first even look at competent team, and they did not look very good in it. Texas A&M 4-1. Obviously, they had that early season loss to Notre Dame, but they beat Arkansas last week in a pretty tough battle. They've been a little bit more battle tested than a lot of teams around the league. They have played some more higher levels of competition. Pretty interesting matchup here in College Station. Line is 2.5 favoring A&M, which maybe is surprising. I think we still don't know a lot about this Missouri team. And like I said, I think the Texas A&M team just has a lot more experience at this point. Tins, how do you feel about this game?
This is a weird game for me because, like you talked about, Missouri, first time they were tested this year was against Vandy, and they almost failed the test. I don't really like. I just something about this Texas A&M team just is overhyped to me. I can't believe they're still ranked. I mean, I guess they haven't had like a bad loss, and they beat Notre Dame, right? Week 1, they beat Notre Dame.
They lost to Notre Dame.
No, they lost to Notre Dame. That's right.
Which is their only loss. They're 4-1.
4-1. Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you I've watched much of Texas A&M other than that game. I don't know. I don't like them. I like Missouri's ability to score points. This over under being as low as it is kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
So if you're giving me Missouri plus the money, I'll take them because I think their quarterback and receiver combo is pretty like top 10 in the country. So that makes me lean Missouri, but I guess anything can happen. This is a system game. If you know, well.
So one of the
it's
almost a system. It's pretty much system. One of the big storylines going into this game is the quarterback situation, like you mentioned, at Texas A&M. Connor Wegman obviously started the season. He looked very poor. He has some injury situation, and so Marcel Reed has come in, and they've kind of restructured a lot of things around him. The depth chart came out, and apparently Wegman was listed as the starting quarterback. I think there is no way that he actually is the starting quarterback coming into the game. Right. I think this is Elko trying to trying to throw some confusion in the mix. I think that Marcel Reed will be their starter. He's played well. A really interesting matchup here. I am pretty high on Missouri. I have 2 SEC teams that I was high on at the beginning of the season who have not looked great thus far. I do not think these teams are down and out. I think they had slow starts due to schedule, and I think they're just trying to get going. Missouri is one of them. I think a lot of people are downplaying Missouri at this point because of the performance of Vanderbilt, and they just haven't looked very cohesive. I think they have a pretty explosive offense. I would be shocked if they don't come back and look much, much better against A&M. So the line is Missouri is 2.5-point underdogs there. I'm taking money line. I'll just go ahead and tell you it's my best bet. And so
I think this is the game. I think this is the game Missouri's offense clicks, and then we're like, oh, this is why they're ranked number 9. Yep.
I agree. On paper, they're still really good. I mean, quarterback, wide receiver combo. It's a team that won a lot of games last season. Looks really good, and a lot of the same pieces are there still. I don't think there's a way they could not win this game. So
yeah,
pretty fun one though.
Yeah, it'll be a fun 11 o'clock game. Kick off the day.
Okay, let's stick with the SEC here, and we have some non-SEC games coming up as well. There's 2 kind of big SEC games happening. The one I'm most interested in is Ole Miss visiting South Carolina. Ole Miss coming off a really bad loss to a Kentucky team who maybe is just underrated. I think Kentucky is starting to look in most people's eyes as a legitimate team, better than some of your average Kentucky teams have been. But Ole Miss had a lot of preseason hype. Obviously, Jackson Dart was a Heisman candidate, and maybe still is to an extent if they can bounce back. The question mark here: they're playing at South Carolina, where that stadium and that fan base can be a pretty intimidating. They're, I think, a pretty underrated environment overall. It can make things really hard on opposing teams. But they're 3-1 right now. They looked really good in the game against Kentucky and kind of beat the brakes off Kentucky. And so we have kind of an interesting matchup here. Tins, do you have any thoughts on this one?
I was pretty high on Ole Miss going into the year, and I said last week that I thought Ole Miss might have shot themselves in the foot and are going to miss the playoffs now. And I think this is going to be the second game of it. I think South Carolina beats them outright. Nothing that I saw out of Ole Miss last week tells me that they're a 10-point favorite over a South Carolina team that has been above what anyone thought they'd be going into the year. I think they've got a legit defensive line. They've got a true freshman at defensive end who is going to be a first overall draft pick when he gets to be able to be drafted. Like, he is a man among boys at 18 years old. I think Ole Miss does not have the ability to be able to block that guy, and they've got 3 other guys on that defensive line that are all probably going to be top 100 picks in the NFL. So I think that's going to be the difference maker right there. And then South Carolina can run the ball. They've got the running back from Arkansas, right? Rocket Sanders.
Yes.
Transferred. He looks great. They've got a quarterback who can run the ball.
Lenore Sellers. Yeah.
Yeah. And on top of it, just everything that's going on in Carolina right now, you're going to see a very pumped up crowd. So yeah, I think South Carolina, I'm going to take them to cover, and I'm going to sprinkle the money line.
Wow.
I think this is the beginning of the end of Ole Miss this season.
I think I've got a different take on this game. I think this is Ole Miss's bounce back. I hear what you're saying, and I think I would really like for that to be true. I would love to see Ole Miss crumble. I think Ole Miss has too many weapons offensively, and they have a lot of pieces defensively that picked up out of the portal. I think their team is too talented. I think they started super slow last week and had a tough game. Sorry, I was clearing my throat. At the end of the day, for Ole Miss and Missouri, their whole season is ahead of them. Playoffs are still intact if they win out. They still have the potential to get where they want to go. I think that was a wake-up call last week for Ole Miss. I think they come into South Carolina with a little bit different mindset. I think they have one game of experience under their belts with a little bit of desperation of we have to win this, or basically our season is in jeopardy of just being over at this point. As far as playoffs go, I think that team is going to come in kind of fired up and get the dub. But I could also see it going the other way.
I can see that. I could see Ole Miss coming in and out fireworking them and just big plays,
shootout.
I think South Carolina just has the more physical side of it, and I think where I'm wanting to lean South Carolina here is I think if South Carolina just comes out and just punches them one good time in the face, Ole Miss is gonna be like, you know what, let's pack it up. Like, I think that defensive line is gonna get after Jackson Dart in a way that he's just like, all right, I'm done with this today. This is 2 weeks in a row. I'm not here for it. So
the middle of the SEC's got some interesting teams who are kind of in that, like Kentucky, South Carolina. I mean, you could throw Auburn, Oklahoma in that mix of like not good teams, but
LSU.
LSU is in the upper tier of that one for sure, but like not elite teams, but teams that could punch you in the mouth in any given
make it a bad day.
Yeah. And I think South Carolina is certainly capable of that.
And that's we could be talking about a 4-0 South Carolina team right now because they should have beat LSU.
Yep, it's very close. That's true.
Pick sixes called back on penalties away from winning that game.
As a Tennessee fan, I'm pretty excited we are not. They're not on schedule, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they're not one of those teams I feel like playing.
Okay. Speaking of Tennessee is traveling to Arkansas. Tennessee just coming off a bye week. I think the popular narrative, there's a couple narratives on this game. I think one of the most pertinent ones, Tennessee's favored by 13 points, is Arkansas could pretty easily be 5-0 right now. Talk about teams who are in that middle tier. Arkansas is firmly in that middle tier with those other teams. Teams that, if they play up to their potential, could give any team in the SEC a hard time. This is a team with Taylor Green, who's looked really good at quarterback. They've lost a couple of very tight games they lost to A&M 21-17 last week, and then they lost to Oklahoma State in overtime, which is a game they had no business losing. They were ahead most of that game. And so this is a team that I think is pretty dangerous at home. 13-point they're 13-point underdogs at home, ready to make a statement. Again, this is a team where, I mean, they're 3-2 at this point, so they're not looking at playoffs, but they would love to beat a top 5 team and just have fun doing it. So
yeah, Arkansas is a weird team because you feel like Sam Pittman's like on the hot seat. They even brought in Bobby Petrino to call the offense, and it's like, ooh, things got to be bad if you're willing to let him back on the sideline after what he did to Arkansas. But I mean, it's working. They look a lot better than people really anticipated this year. And I think this locker room is playing hard for Pittman. They must like him. They don't want to see him go. So I do feel like this is a dangerous spot for UT. 14 points is a lot, but I think at the end of the day, Arkansas is a team that's going to base everything they do off of the run. UT has been very good at stopping the run. This will be our first time playing like a very athletic quarterback. I know the backup came in for Oklahoma, and he looked better than the starter did, and he's more an athletic quarterback. So this will be like a full game for UT of playing against somebody like that. It's going to be a very fun game. I think. I don't know if Arkansas's stadium is one to like super worry about. I don't know how.
Tennessee's had a hard time playing there traditionally.
Really? Okay.
For whatever reason, Fayetteville has not been nice to Tennessee. I will say one stat to think about here is Tennessee has ranks number 8 in quarterback rushes or quarterback pressures in the nation. Arkansas's offensive line ranks like in the 130s in sacks allowed. So you want a stat to hang your hat on. If Tennessee can get in the backfield regularly and can cause some chaos, I think that will be a big key to this game. There's a potential where Tennessee's defensive line just stops the run game completely, gets a bunch of just pretty much controls the whole game, kind of like they did against Oklahoma.
Every third down is 3rd and 18 plus, super long third downs because you stop the run on first down, sack on second down, stuff like that. Like
you literally can't. Yeah, you can't move. You can't win a football game if your offensive line just can't do anything. So
if
you can't move the football. Fun fact.
Yeah, key part of winning a football game is getting first downs.
That's a true fact. Okay, we have a couple of other games around the league. We're just going to quickly hit. We can do some quick hits here. One of the tighter lines around the league is a very, very intriguing one. That would be Michigan going on the road to Washington in a Big Ten matchup. Number 10 Michigan on the road. Washington is favored by 2.5 points. This a 3-2 Washington team that has had some significant troubles so far this season. In a national championship rematch, fun fact, this Washington team has lost to Rutgers and lost to Washington State. Just pretty bad losses there. But they're hosting number 10 team in the country, just beat USC, and they are 2.5 point underdogs. Tens, thoughts?
Yeah, this is the biggest like head scratcher to me. Like I've been down on Michigan, but I don't see where they are an underdog, even on the road to a Washington team that like what have they done to be a favorite at home? I don't know. I mean, I just watched Michigan run a 2-minute drill against USC where they ran the ball every single time to win the football game. Who does that? Michigan does. I don't know what Washington State does like elite. I'm like looking at their team stats right now and nothing's like popping out at me. So Vegas knows something I don't, I guess. I don't know.
Michigan's offense has never looked very good. I think though the total over under is 41.5, and so I think you're betting on it being a pretty low scoring affair. Washington has the home field advantage. Probably going to want to show out, get some revenge from the national championship last year, maybe. That's what I'm.
No one's there. No one's on that team that was on that team last year.
That is accurate. The fans are there.
Yeah, the fans, I guess.
So very interesting matchup there. I don't love any of that. Makes me nervous. And Ohio State at playing at home against Iowa, 20.5 point favorites. And so they have the big matchup coming next week. I am not sure that Iowa has the firepower. I will say something very interesting. You're looking at this Ohio State Iowa game, over under 44.5. That feels very low to me. I mean, I know Iowa can't really score, but if you look at Ohio State's points, I mean, they've scored 38, 49, 56, and 52 in their first 4 games.
So you're essentially saying Iowa gets shut out and Ohio State only scores
like 30 to 10, so like 31 to 10 is kind of, or 35 to 10, something like that.
I honestly, that's not a crazy. That Iowa
they beat Michigan State 38-7, so I guess that's maybe reasonable.
Yeah,
feels kind of low, but
I don't know. I don't like this Ohio State team. I bet them once this year to cover, and they didn't do it. So, I don't know. I don't think they're as good as they are in years past. Like, I think they downgraded at quarterback. Honestly, Will Rogers. That's Washington. Will Howard, or whatever his name is from Kansas State, who's now at Ohio State. I don't think is better than the guy Ohio State had last year. I don't think Iowa has enough manpower to cause an upset here, but it's a tough game to play against a tough Iowa team and then play Oregon next week. Like,
sure, look ahead game.
Look ahead game. Ohio State, if they do build somewhat of a lead, I could see them pulling guys just because it's like, all right, we got to save our bodies for next week because Iowa plays a very tough brand of football.
Yep. Agree. I think that'll probably not be a very fun game to watch, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm watching too much of that game. But I might take Iowa plus 20. Wow. It's probably going to find its way on the card.
Okay. Any other games you want to hit briefly as we wrap up? Any other fun ones?
No.
Fun UCF, ones. Florida.
UCF, Florida. I want to bet on. I want to watch UCF destroy Florida, but I'm a little gun shy about UCF after last week.
It looked pretty bad.
They looked like they just weren't ready, which is tough because I took them minus 14, so needed them to be ready. And then other than that, I don't know. It's like we said, it's a weird week. Nothing really stood out to me. Other than that, Friday night's a fun game. Oregon hosting Michigan State. I think that'll be a fun. It's not going to be a competitive game, I don't think. I think it'll be pretty high scoring. I like Michigan State's offense, but other than that,
I will say, low-key, one of the more fun matchups of the week is Rutgers at Nebraska. If you listen to the last episode, we're pretty high on Rutgers on this podcast. Rutgers 4-0, going to Nebraska 4-1. Nebraska is 7-point favorites. I think that could be a pretty fun matchup there. I'm going to call it now. This is a college football playoff elimination game.
Oh.
So one way or the other.
One of these teams isn't making it.
I think they're not. I think they're done. Rutgers is 4-0, but their schedule is soft.
I think I'm low-key rooting for Rutgers at this point.
Same. I have a bet on Rutgers to make the playoffs. So
I think Rutgers being in the Big Ten championship game, just ruining that TV deal, like they'll be so mad.
I'm pretty high on Rutgers right now. Definitely.
All right.
Okay.
So did you want to use Missouri as your parlay leg?
I actually think I'm going to use it as both my parlay leg and my best bet this week.
Beautiful.
I'm not going to give out bets I don't believe in. I believe in this one. The rest of the slate is a little scary to me, so I'm gonna hold strong on what I feel good about.
All right. So
we could put in, if you wanted to, you could put in Missouri plus 2.5 for the. Just go money line.
I'll go money line. I can do the plus 2 if you want on your best bet, but parlay we'll go money line.
Okay.
All right, and then we'll be switching over to the NFL for me and Mason's. Mason already gave his pick out over in the Rams-Packers game. My best bet is I text the boys this. Sorry, I should have been more prepared. Best bet is going to be Bengals money line Joe Burrow always performs well against the Ravens. It's at home. It's a very important game. I think know they don't have any more games to lose right now. They don't have to win out, but they've got to at least win all their division games. The Bengals do. So I like that. And then my parlay leg is going to be Panthers Bears over 41.
Wow.
Neither one of these teams. The gross. Panthers, yeah, they're both gross. The Panthers don't play any defense, but Andy Dalton puts up points. And the Bears need to put up some points. Caleb Williams got to start putting up some stats, or else people are going to start calling him Bryce Young 2.0. So I just think it's going to. I mean, over 41. I'm not asking for a lot of points there. That's not too much to ask for. So that parlay is going to come out to plus 693. That will be on the Discord as well. I'll make sure and get it in there. And that's where you're going to find all of our other bets too. I'm going to have some more college bets, a couple more NFL. I'm taking NFL kind of light because it's really hard to bet right now. But college has been good. We'll have some system updates. It's a big weekend for the system. But other than that, that is going to be an episode. Thank you guys for listening. We will be back on Monday for our next guy up of the week. We'll have a Josh Allen of the week update, maybe. Think it might be locked up for the year already. And make sure you join the Discord. If you can't join, there's a link in our link tree on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. But if you can't figure it out, DM us. We'll be sure to get you in there.
Yep.
And check out our TikTok for all kinds of other fun stuff. I just did a soda review that you do not want to miss. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.